everyone, it's Matthew.
And Daniel.
And we are A to Z Thrills. And Daniel, what are we doing this time?
Today we're going to be talking about our top 10 favorite roller coasters at Disney. Now we are doing Disney World and Disneyland.
Yeah, just to be clear, this is Disney America. We have not been to Tokyo, we've not been to Disney Sea, we've not been to Walt Disney Studios. None of those, we have not ridden them. So none of them are going to be on this list.
So we're just going to talk about our top 10. Now we do know that there is a lot more. And I've left some off of my list, you have left some off of your list. Now, we do want to preface this by saying that just because they are low on the list does not mean that these are bad rides.
Same thing for the ones that are not on the list. Mm-hmm. They're just not in our top 10.
Yeah, and remember, these can change because we could have had a bad ride on them, or we just haven't ridden them enough times to appreciate it. Without further ado, why don't you go ahead with your number 10?
Well, let's go ahead with my number 11.
Oh, so honorable mention?
My honorable mention is Slinky Dog Dash. Yeah. For what this ride is, it is a great family ride. It is.
Yes.
But the wait to get on this ride can get up to 2 hours. And there is no shade in that queue. It is miserable to wait. The only way I will ever do Slinky Dog Dash is at a special event after dark, or if I have Genie Plus. That is the only way. I will not stand in that line.
I mean, to be honest, I don't have Slinky Dog Dash on mine either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as in, it was a boring ride for me. But
it is themed extremely well. Yes. I will give it that.
I think Mock did an extremely good job on what they could do.
But anyway, my number 10 is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let me explain this one. This is the most popular ride at Magic Kingdom. And it is for a reason. It's a very, very good family coaster. Mm-hmm. The theming is immaculate. I love the dark ride features of going through the mine with the dwarves. I love the twisting of the carts. I mean, I think it's a very cool ride. But once again, we come to the same issue. Until you get into the actual, building of the queue area, you are out in the hot sun and there's no shade. And that line can get just as long as Slinky Dog Dash. And the only way to skip that line is to pay for it.
I mean, he basically summed it up. Now, I wouldn't say my number 10 is not Seven Dwarfs. My number 10 is going to cause a lot of controversy. Because my number 10, after looking at all the coasters that we had here, I went off of the level of excitement I have to ride this ride every time we go. And I'm sorry, but it's Space Mountain in California.
What?
For me, it's fun, but not as fun as it could be. Again, we've said in past videos, I'm not a fan of dark rides, and this is one reason for it. I mean, the trains are comfortable, the queue is amazing, but after all the time...
The music!
For me, it's just not up there. As in, I like more thrills, not the atmosphere. And that's why some of these rides rank above it to me. But then again, remember, these are all just our personal opinions. I can have different opinions than him, same with you as well. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. If you disagree with me, also let me know in the comments. But I will go ahead and say number 9 for me was Seven Dwarfs. And you've explained it perfectly. So I'm not going to waste any more time with going over it. I do want to say that the swinging motion of the ride is really fun, which to me kind of adds a level of thrills, which does put it above Space Mountain to me. But what's your number 9?
My number 9 is the Matterhorn at Disneyland. It is very fun, don't get me wrong. But it is jank. I mean, it'll knock your head off from time to time.
Some people like
it's rough. Now, I will say there's 2 different sides to the track. One side is better than the other. And I will say that the last time Daniel and I rode on Matterhorn, it was the best ride I've ever had on Matterhorn.
And that's why mine is placed where it is.
But it's a classic, and I understand it. The theming is great. That's really all I have to say.
All right, again, controversy from my end. Number 8, same ride, different state, Space Mountain, Florida. Now, this was the original Space Mountain, and it is, to me, a lot better than the California ride. It feels like you're going fast. You have more airtime, I feel, and the trains to me are a lot more comfortable. But again, it's a dark ride. I'm not a big fan of dark rides. I like to see where I'm going. But overall, I feel like I can marathon this ride more than I can Space Mountain at California. So just overall, great, but not up to my standard of thrills.
I could marathon them both, no issue whatsoever.
But anyway, what's your number 7, I believe?
No, my number 8.
Oh, number 8.
Okay, my number 8 is Big Thunder Mountain. Now, there are 2, yes, but they are far too similar to separate them. The reason we separated the 2 Space Mountains is because they're 2 completely different rides. You have different ride vehicles. But Big Thunder Mountain is exactly the same minus a few special effects and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we just kept them together. So, sorry about that. Anyway, Big Thunder Mountain. Great family ride. Some good thrills.
And I will also let you know my number 7 is Big Thunder Mountain.
Number 7?
Yeah, because I already talked about number 8.
Okay.
So my number 7 is also Big Thunder Mountain. I agree with everything that you said about it. So when we go to Disney, I am always wanting to get on this ride, just not as much as some of the other rides on here, but I'm not going to waste any more time. What is your number 7?
Little disclaimer with this one. I have only ridden this ride one time. My number 7 is Tron Light Cycle Run.
All the hate right here. All the hate.
Let me explain.
I'm shook.
Okay. I love this ride. I love the launch. I love the theming. There's just one thing about it. Well, there's 2 things about it. One, for as long as it took to build, this ride is 42 seconds. That's it. For all the time it took, Disney, you could have at least given us 2 laps or something. I mean, this is ridiculous. The ride is amazing for the theming and everything. I love the Daft Punk soundtrack, one of the best soundtracks from a film ever, in my opinion. But again, I mean, and another thing, right now at Disney, there's only a few ways that you can ride Tron Light Cycle Run. 1, you have to get into the virtual queue, which sells out almost immediately. 2, you have to get the individual lightning lane, which costs money. That's the only way you can ride this ride right now. Is pay for it or pray that you get in that virtual queue.
My number 6 is actually a ride that you've already mentioned, and that is Matterhorn Bobsleds. I do think that this ride gives a little bit more, as in it does have 2 different sides, and we did ride the best side last time we went up. So that is why it is ranking above these other ones. But also, I just like the colors. They pop out a little bit more. Of course, you have different color cars. You have blue, red, green. The 2 different tracks. The animatronic Yeti. Like, that is very cool. And it's just, overall, I also like cool themes, aka snow. I'm very warm-blooded. They turn up the AC in that ride. I like it.
Yeah.
But you kind of explained it more than I could ever hope to accomplish. So what is your number 6?
Well, I mean, we go from one Yeti ride at Matterhorn to another Yeti ride. Well, they don't have a Yeti anymore because it hasn't worked for years. But my number 6 is Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I love this ride. The theming is great. You usually don't have to wait too long for it. It's thrilling. I mean, there's a lot of things I love about it. I just like the next 5 better than Expedition Everest. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. It is one of the main reasons to go to Animal Kingdom.
It's the only reason. And I will go ahead and say my number 5 is also Expedition Everest.
Okay.
So one thing I like about it the most is that it's very unique because it's the only other roller coaster at Disney that goes backwards. There's 2 roller coasters, and the other one we'll get to eventually. But Expedition Everest does go backwards for that little portion, which does give it that uniqueness more than any other rides there. So it's just, yes. And I'm not a big fan of going backwards.
In my opinion, there's 3 rides in Animal Kingdom that make it worth going to. Expedition Everest, Kilimanjaro Safaris, and Flight of Passage. As I said before, I'm more nostalgic than anything, so some people may have this ride lower on their list, or some people may even have it higher. My number 5 is Space Mountain, California. Now let me separate this real quick. Space Mountain, California, I've probably ridden more times than any other ride at Disneyland because I've been there for many years. It was one of my aunt and I's favorite rides. Rest in peace, Niecy. And it just means a lot to me. And the changes that they did to it in the late 2000s, changing the music and everything, just made it that much better. And I know that it's like not really a roller coaster per se. It's a roller coaster type ride in the dark. But I still love Space Mountain. And for the longest time, I thought that Space Mountain, California was better than Space Mountain, Florida.
I changed his mind.
You didn't change my mind. The rides did. And we'll get to Space Mountain in Florida fairly shortly.
But for me, I actually have a ride that he thought was going to be my number 2. Incredicoaster. Now, here's the thing.
What?
Here's the thing.
What?
Whenever we first went to Disney, whenever I first had the experience, it was my favorite roller coaster in Disney.
Okay, he has the rose-colored glasses on, I see.
The only thing is, though, after the multiple times that we've ridden it, because we've ridden it about 20, 30 times now, if not more.
I mean, I've ridden it a lot more than that because I've ridden it as California Screaming.
But the only thing is, though, is like for me, it's starting to get a real bad shakiness to it. I do think that they could, do some different restraints, so therefore you're not headbanging because of the shakiness.
Yeah.
I do think the launch could be a little bit more powerful. They need some TLC on that ride. But I mean, I love the theming. I love everything about it. It's just, it could use that TLC. And once that TLC is done, then it can move higher in the rankings. But I just have the other 3. They're just overall better to me.
All right. My number 4 is, wow, shocker, Space Mountain, Florida. Okay.
Big shocker.
I know, right? No one's more shocked than me. This time last year, I would have said Space Mountain, California far outdoes Florida. But not too long ago, Daniel and I were at Magic Kingdom, and I rode Space Mountain completely in the dark. It was for Boo to You Halloween.
Yep.
And that experience of riding it completely in the dark, wow. It's unbelievable. And with those bobsled type trains, they were hauling. At least it felt like it. I mean, I know the ride only goes like 27, 28 miles per hour.
Yeah.
But it felt like it was hauling.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to go again. And he was like, but the line. I'm like, okay, let the line go down, then we'll go again. But yeah, Space Mountain, Florida, in my opinion, not the music, however. The music is better in California. But overall ride experience, I give it to Florida. So let's get to
my number 3.
Number 3.
Now, he had it a little bit low on his list.
Uh-huh.
My number 3 is Tron Light Cycle Run.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not the hugest Tron fan at all. But the uniqueness of the ride type, the uniqueness of the ride...
vehicle?
Yeah, ride vehicle. And
The
the soundtrack,
cycle.
oh my god, the soundtrack, I loved it.
It's Daft Punk, come on.
Yes, as in Daft Punk made some of the best music ever.
Yeah, they did.
And it's just, all that combined, yes, it's short. Yes, they could have done more to it. But overall, that one day ride that we had was just amazing. Again, I do think it would go up higher in the list if we are able to get
Higher?
a night ride.
You think it could go higher on your list?
If we get a night ride, yeah.
I don't think it's going to go higher.
But
I mean, it might go higher on mine. I don't know if it's going to go higher on yours
see.
based on your top 2.
But that's my number 3. What's yours?
I've been doing some thinking while we're doing the video. So my number 3 is Incredicoaster. Yeah.
Oh, he changed it.
I've been thinking about it on the fly. I've been thinking about it.
Everything's broken. I don't know what reality is anymore.
I love Incredicoaster.
He changed it.
I did. And you'll see why in a moment. Well, no, you won't.
Well, no, they will, because they're watching to the end of the video. Make sure you do, because if you don't, we will know.
Anyway, pretty much everything Daniel said is right. It does need some TLC. However, nostalgia strikes again. I've ridden this so many times. I rode it as California Screamin'. I loved it then. I love it now. It was a great retheme.
And I think we both now know what our number 2 and number 1 is going to be. So I'm pretty sure we can just talk about them at the same time. Because my number 2, and I'm pretty sure his number 2 is the same, Rockin' Roller Coaster.
Starring Aerosmith. Yes.
Now this ride was, I think, one of the first coasters I rode at Disney World. And love Aerosmith. Dude Looks Like a Lady. My favorite song by Aerosmith. Just gotta say.
I mean, I would agree with that.
And it's just...
completely.
Being able to get that song on that ride while you're running a roller coaster is just mind-boggling. I do think that this over-the-shoulder restraints is just a little bit too much. I do think that they can go with a different kind of restraint, but I do know that it does, of course, need some TLC. It just had some redoing of the light packaging, and that made an immensely difference. Well, that's not...
It made an amazing difference.
Yes.
It really did. The theming, you know, it's you go in, you see the guys in the studio. They're like, if you give some backstage passes, and then we get in our super stretch limo and head to the concert. It is a 75-second ride, basically.
I think so, yeah.
But I mean, with the corkscrews and the loops and stuff, I mean, it packs a punch for a Disney ride, and thrill seekers like us, we love it. Number 1, and let me just say this: this is not just the best roller coaster that Disney offers. This is the best ride that Disney offers. Bar none, the best ride they've ever done, in my opinion, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Goofy Sky Skull. But no, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. It is such a good ride.
Good understatement. It is fan-freaking-tastic.
But I will say, this ride... I would rather wait for this ride than Tron, because I think
the queue.
I think the queue is done amazingly. I mean, even though Tron gives it a run for its money, but just the amount of detail that they put into that queue is just
to be fair, we went
amazing.
through the individual lightning lane part of the queue, so we didn't get to see the full queue.
Touche. But that kind of wraps it up for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end. If you did, go ahead and comment your favorite Disney coaster in the comment section down below. And also, while you're down there, give us a subject that you would like to see us talk about. So as always, I'm Daniel.
And I'm Matthew.
And we are A to Z Thrills.
Keep calm.
And coaster on.
See you guys.
Bye guys.